Hello everyone, welcome to CSE Core Concepts in my series of machine learning algorithms. Today we are going to discuss about a very interesting classifier as the decision tree classifier. Now, up till now, whatever classification algorithms we have studied, namely the KNN or the naive-Bayes algorithm, they are predictive algorithms. That is, you give a test data and it will give you the prediction that which class the test data belongs to. Now, along with being a predictive classifier, decision trees are also descriptive classifier. That is, they will show you in a tree format that how your data is falling under a particular category. It follows a top-down approach and the results are in the flowchart like a tree structure. And while you are generating the tree, the training process is called as an induction. So the tree looks something like this, that if you want to find out whether a person is fit or not. So if he is less than 30, yes or no. So if yes, whether he eats a lot of pizzas, if yes, he falls into the unfit category, and if no, he falls into a fit category. If his age is above 30 and whether he exercises in the morning or not, that will determine whether he is fit or not. So these values, that is age, whether he eats pizzas or not, whether he is exercising in the morning, these values are what the nodes, they determine the attributes and you perform a test on the attribute value. So your attribute is age. So where you will perform a test whether the age is less than 30 or not. So the result of the test will generate branches that either the result is yes or the result is no. Okay, so two branches will be generated from here, that is yes or no. So each node of the tree will denote a test on the attribute value and each branch represents the outcome of the test. The leaves are the classes. The leaves are what? In my data structures where we have discussed very detailed about trees, there I have discussed what are nodes and leaves. So leaves are the last level which does not have further branches. So they are the classes, that is unfit and fit. That means this test data set has two classes, that is fit and unfit. So this algorithm is actually both predictive and descriptive and it determines the relationship in the training data. So finally, what is the aim of the algorithm is that the final leaves which should be as much as homogeneous as possible. Homogeneous means they all should fall on the same category. Okay, so this is how it should work, that is whether they are fit or unfit, right? So they all the data which falls under the yes and unfit category, they are in a way you can say they are uh, homogeneous each other where further no division is possible. Now the attributes values can be discrete here. Okay, we can have any types of attributes. So attributes can be discrete. As you can see in the first one, that is A can have values. Suppose you are discussing based on the color. So the price of a product changes based on the color. Okay, so you can have red, green, blue, purple, orange. Okay, say you are doing a testing for a determining for a credit card company. So based on the income group, you are categorizing the person as low, medium or high. Understood? So your values attributes are what? Discrete attributes. That is, they can be either low, medium or high. Next is your attributes can be continuous. Let's say you are splitting based on the income amount. Okay, not on low, medium or high. So income amount, so in these cases, when you have continuous attribute, you have to determine a split point or a value beyond which you are going to compute. Let's say you are deciding whether it is hot or cold. Okay, so you have to determine, for me 7 degrees cold, but somebody who is staying in a very cold place, for them 7 degree might not be that much cold. So based on that, you are going to decide a split point, like 42,000 you are deciding. So less than 42,000 you are saying is a high risk customer and greater than 42,000 he is a low risk customer. And then the attributes can be discrete or and binary both, right? That if the color, if I have two options of color, either red or green, so if your color falls within these two range, then yes or No. Understood? Whether, mm, let's say for example, like you can say, well, smoking, either he is smoking or he is not smoking. So the values are what? They are discrete and binary, right? Now there is an important thing. Whenever you are creating the trees, you can go on splitting. Let's say I have 50 attributes, and based on 50 attributes I am splitting the values. And let's say I have some continuous values like income, age, and so on, and I can have 4 5 splits, right? In this attribute which is continuous income, I could have, can create multiple splits: less than 10,000, between 10 to 20,000, between 20 to 30,000. Okay, I can create as many splits as possible. Now in this case, what happens is that when the objects are classified and we have large number of attributes, and you build a tree for which the maximum depth is possible, okay, then the quality of the tree may not be very good. Okay, since the tree is built based on only on the training examples, right? So based on the training data sets, for every value you have decided as a separate class, and you have gone to the maximum depth as possible. So now how does the tree look like? The tree look like a huge tree which has maximum number of splits as much as possible, and it is doing very good for training data set, but it may not do very good for the testing data set. Okay, so this type of trees become very complex and with very long and uneven paths. Why uneven? Maybe the right side is only splitting, the left branch is not splitting at all. So the tree is very uneven. Now, some branches in the tree may reflect noise or outliers. For noisy branch leaves also you have created the splits. Okay, such type of decision trees which are very huge and they have number of splits and maximum depth, they are called as the overfitting of the training data. Now when you have overfitting on the training data, then the accuracy will suffer, because if, let's say for example, I have taught you 10 numericals, right, and for every 10 numericals I made you practice 100 times, so you are very good in those 10 numericals. If I am giving any 10 one sum, out of those 10 sum you are doing very good. Understood? But if in the exam, if I am asking you any question apart from this 10, okay, you are bounded. Understood? You are bounded by the 10 numericals. If I am asking you any other sum, you are not able to solve. Why is the problem? Because I have not taught you general equations. Instead, I have taught you specific problems, right? So you are doing very good on the training data, but you are not able to solve on the testing data properly. So this type of model is called as an overfitted model, which results in a poor accuracy of the test data. So in these cases, when we have such complex trees which are not giving us good results, so what we have to do is that we have to cut the tree. We have to make the tree little smaller, simpler, and general. General means it can accommodate many types of branches, right? So this technique is called as pruning. Okay, now you can have two types of pruning. One is pre-pruning and one is post-pruning. Pre-pruning means what? Before you are creating the tree, where you are deciding whether you want to further split or not. Okay. Post pruning means what? After you have created the tree, now you find out how are you going to cut the tree. Right. So pre-pruning means deciding earlier. So when constructing a tree, you can have some measured statistical significance, information gain, such as goodness of split. Okay. These values you can consider goodness of split, right? So based on that, you can decide whether the further splits are required or not. If they are not required, then you halt the tree there itself and don't go for further partitioning. So you can have an appropriate threshold value. So if you are saying that I will go up to 5 levels only, not beyond that. So that 5 level is your threshold, and after that you are going to halt. Now there is a problem. The problem is that how are you going to decide the threshold value? If you are deciding very high threshold values, then they are giving you oversimplified trees. Means you have decided, no, I will go up to only 3 levels. Maybe you have 50 attributes, right? Still you are going up to 3 levels. It is a very oversimplified trees. And simplified tree means it is very general. You are not very categorical about the data. Understood? And if you are having very low threshold values, means it is very little simplification, right? You are giving very huge values. That is how you decide the threshold value. So post pruning is what? You remove the trees from the subgrown tree. Let's say for example, you see this graph a tree where first attribute is A1. On A1 you have done a split. Okay, on A1 you have two splits, yes and no. So if it is yes, you have second attribute A2. Then you have again two splits, yes and no. If it is yes, then again you have a split A4. Then based on yes and no, you have class A and class B. Now from A to if it was a no, there is the class A. Again you go to the right hand side of the tree. From A3 you have two splits A5. Again further divided B and A, and here it is B. Right. So this is a it is looks as a complex tree. Maybe it is a very over fitted tree. So in this case, what we are going to do is that we notice that the subtree at node A3 in the unpruned tree. A3 chalo. Let's see this A3, right? Now if you look, if you want to prune this tree. So you look at this A3 node where the maximum class belongs to class B. 2 times it is class B and 1 time it is class A. So you can go for so most common here is class B. 2 times is class B, 1 time is class A. So you can do a pruning here. Okay, if you want to do, you can remove this node A3, and if A1 decision is no, simply it belongs to class A because maximum times it was belonging to class B. So you don't need to split again further so that you get a pruned version of the tree. See, this is I am showing at a second and third level, but actually it is not so. So that is why I told you very high thresholds means oversimplified trees. Okay, very simple trees you are getting, and low threshold value will give you very little simplification, very little generalization. Okay, so very accurate, not very simple trees, right? So this is how you can perform the pruning. Either you can do the pruning in the beginning or you can do the pruning afterwards. So if you are doing the pruning beginning, that is called as pre-pruning. There you decide a threshold value, and based on the threshold value you divide your tree. Okay, so if you reach that threshold depth, you stop. Okay, you halt it. And in the post pruning, what you can do is that after the tree is created, now you look for the classes which are very frequent in a particular branch. Then you can cut and create that pruned tree. Understood? So you are replacing here with the leaf B where further splitting is not required. Now, how do we extract rules from the decision tree? So, we can create a rule-based classifier using a if-then analysis. Going through the tree is what? A pictorial structure. So, from that, if you are going to create a program or you are going to extract a rule, then of course, we are going to use the if-then analysis, which is known to all of you because you might be knowing some of the practical subjects, right? So practical programmings you might have done. So you can write if age is youth and. So if you have two conditions combined, then you can and, right? And the student is no, then he buys computer. So if you want to go here, what you will write here is if condition A is yes and if condition A2 is yes and if condition A4 is yes, then class A. Okay, so multiple attributes you have, you group them by and, right? So if age is youth and student is and he is a student, then he buys computer. If age is middle aged, then he buys computer. If he is senior and credit rating is excellent, then he buys computer, right? So for each node you can create each leaf node holds the class prediction. That is, these leaf nodes are nothing but the then parts. These are the then part, and these all are your ifs. Okay, and when you join these attributes, they are ANDed. Okay, they are combined by AND. Now, if you have a logical OR, that is a disjunction, means is implied between each of the extracted rules. What does it mean? That obviously you can have either yes or no. That is a logical OR, right? Either yes or no. That is, any one of the rule will apply. You cannot have anything between yes or no. So these rules are extracted directly from the tree. Hence, these rules are called as mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So your rules in the decision tree should be mutually exclusive and they should be exhaustive. So what do we mean by mutually exclusive? Means no rule conflicts exist between two rules will be triggered for the same tuple. Means if you have 5 rules, okay, you are creating 5 rules. Now for one tuple, 2 rules cannot be applied. Every tuple can have at the most only one rule. Okay, so one rule per leaf, right? So for this class A here, for this tuple, what is the rule? If A1 yes and if A2 yes and if A4 yes, then class A. Then what will be for this class? It will be if A1 yes, if A2 no, then. So same rule is not there. Although both belong to class A, but not same rule will create. Okay, they are called as mutually exclusive. And exhaustive means there is only one rule for each possible attribute, right? So combination is only one. Either A1 yes, A2 yes, A4 yes, okay. A1 yes, A2 no, okay. Okay, so this way you have every combination, they are called as exhaustive. So this was all about your decision tree classifier for now. If you have any doubts regarding them, please feel free to ask me in the comment section. And in my upcoming videos, I would surely demonstrate creation of decision tree classifiers on RStudio. So please stay tuned to CSE Core Concepts for further such good material. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to CSE Core Concepts.